the environmental degradation and marginalization of women, a South Asian perspective, a very good topic. And may I now request Mr. Surajit Das to
Am I audible, sir?
yes, yes, okay, to commence your speech. Okay,
Uh,
welcome, Mr. Surajit.
Thank you, sir. First of all, uh, first of all, good evening to all the participants of Philosophy Family and Dr. Kailas Chandra Maharana, who chaired this session. Sir, may I start?
Start.
Today I am going to present the paper, and the title of my paper is Environmental Degradation and Marginalization of Women, a South Asian Perspective. Introduction. Nowadays, environmental degradation and marginalization of women is a great challenging issue, not only in India, but also to the all South Asian countries. And it is the key feature of ecofeminist discussion. The term ecofeminism was coined by the French feminist Francoise d'Eugone in 1974 in order to represent women's potential for bringing about an ecological revolution. Ecofeminism holds that the domination of women and the domination of nature are closely associated. It also holds that patriarchy is the base of the domination of both women and nature. The aim of ecofeminism is to liberate both women and nature from the clutches of patriarchy. Patriarchal domination over both women and nature has become the outcome in the oppression of women and the destruction of nature. Hence, in order to challenge the exploitation of women and the destruction of nature, ecofeminists jumped on the abolition of patriarchal form of domination from the society. In the early period of ecofeminism, celebrated women's emotional connection with the earth, forgets through her biological functions, characterizing it as distinct to the reason-dominated approach associated with men, empiricism, and power. In the latter periods, led by the works of Bandana Shiva, a Southern woman perspective of ecofeminism evolved, linking experiences of colonialism and Western development to women's special relationship with the earth. The present paper thus is an attempt to explore how the destruction of nature connected to the marginalization of women within South Asian rural communities. And in the concluding section, I would like to recommend an ecofeministic solution to all these environmental problems. I have divided my paper into four sections. Section 1, the role of women. It is difficult to talk about women as a whole without ignoring the vast economic, cultural, and social differences between them. Even if we were to consider only third world women, the lives of women in South Asia are different from those of African and Latin American. Similar gaps in income and culture exist. There are some crucial areas where women work to keep family and rural economy alive. These are number one, survival tasks. Survival tasks constitute those essential for daily life for which women are primarily responsible. They grow food crops, provide water, gather fuel, and perform most of the works which sustain the family. Number two, household tasks. The activities of the home are exclusively the responsibility of women, with older children occasionally assisting. The daily tasks including food
Sorry for
preparation.
interruption. Please switch on your video.
Okay, am I visible?
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. The daily tasks including food preparation, cleaning and washing absorb long hours of work daily. Number three, income generating tasks. In South Asia, women contribute substantially to the family budget through income generating activities like food processing, trading of agricultural products, and handicrafts production. Women thus fulfill a great number of essential tasks, yet they and their labor go unrewarded. Section 2. Impacts of environmental degradation on women. In the recent decades, two distinct but interactive processes have severely affected the South Asian rural environment. One is the depletion of its natural resource base, and other is the increasing appropriation of what is available for the benefits of a few. The problem, challenges, and issues seeking women assistance are multifaceted, from deforestation, land degradation, flood, drought, pollution, burgeoning population, poverty, loss of biodiversity, adverse climate change, and so on. And impacts of this environmental degradation on South Asian women are as follows. Number one, on economics of women. The decline of forests has reduced women's income from gathered items. Water, fuel, fodder, building materials, and even food to a certain extent are all gathered freely from the indigenous forest. And these raw materials are the biggest source of their employment. Number two, nutritional implications for women. Studies in several parts of India reveal a gender bias in access to food within the family, overwork, and inadequate food. The energy output of women is not compensated by proportionate intake of food, and the ratio of intra-household male-female food distribution was 2 is to 1. While women produce the food, the men and the boys are served first and provided with the most nutritious food. Women, on the other hand, in many cultures, are the last to eat in the family. Number three, health. Nutritional deficiencies have direct health consequences. In addition, because of the nature of task proper, women perform fetching drinking water, washing clothes in streams, and transplanting rice. They are more directly exposed than are men to waterborne diseases and to the pollutions of rivers and ponds with fertilizers and pesticides runoff. On time. Number four, on time. Since it is the women and the female children who mainly collect fuel, firewood, fodder, it is their time and energy which gets extended when forests are declined. In many areas, distances traveled and time taken for this task has increased manifold. For instance, a round trek of 6 to 7 kilometers may yield firewood only for their one day's cooking. Number five, on women's indigenous knowledge. Food and medicinal items from forest demand an elaborate knowledge of the plant species, which these women have gained through their long experiences. Also, in many regions, peasant women mainly responsible for indigenous seed selection are poor. With the large-scale shift to hybrid seed, control has passed into the hands of national and international laboratories. While traditional systems are being devalued, the women who depend on this knowledge have little institutions with which create what is seen as knowledge and modern technology. Section 3. Impacts of westernization on women. South Asian women are being victimized more and more by Western development, particularly by the Green Revolution technology. The Green Revolution technology was propounded by Dr. Norman Borlaug. It was a large increased process in crop production in developing countries, achieved by the use of artificial fertilizers, pesticides, and high-yielding seed varieties. Actually, it was a science-based Western agricultural research which pretends to give us more food, but is actually destroying our nature. In her book Staying Alive, Women, Ecology and Survival in India, Vandana Shiva regards this type of development as maldevelopment. The maldevelopment argument is that westernization actually decreases the quality of life for women in the third world countries. Traditional agricultural methods are abandoned. Cash crops, which depleted the delicate ecosystems, are substituted for subsistence crops, and natural resources are taken or destroyed. Men must move to the cities to obtain jobs, but it is the women who are now left alone to work longer and harder to acquire less food and needs for their children. As in the case of Somalia, the end result is starvation. These victims sees women as worldwide victims of oppression, fighting for their very lives and lives for their children. In this way, Western development and oppressive economic measures deprive women of their traditional land use rights and break the living relationship between women and nature. Last, section 4, concluding remarks. We can easily solve the present environmental problems through the application of ecofeminist philosophy. For example, the effectiveness of such local grassroots ecofeminist activism is probably illustrated best by the Indian women's movement, which is known as the Chipko movement. In Chipko, women have successfully organized to protect the indigenous forests on which they depend upon for food, fuel, water, soil stability, climate control, and many other important necessities of daily life. Similar ecofeminist activism was also found in Kenya in 1977, which was known as the Green Belt Movement. It was a non-governmental organization which encouraged women to plant trees in order to combat deforestation and environmental degradation. These examples prove that women have empowered by the knowledge of ecological relationships they on which can be used sorry ecological relationships which can be used to end specific forms of oppression or domination involving in between women and nature. Ecofeminism is therefore a movement which tries to manifest a holistic approach to empowering women, protecting the earth, and promoting sustainable development and environmentally rooted social justice to all human beings. That's all, and thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks so much, Mr. Surajit, for your very clear and short presentation. And you have also given justice to time. And your paper, The Environmental Degradation and Marginalization Movement, particularly the South Asian perspective, has given a new understanding to think of the South Asian women, and you have focused on the problem of the South Asian women, and you have shown how the degradation of environment affects the health, socio-economic condition, not just a for which is a problem for South Asian women. And you have also said that how South Asian women are victimized by green revolution and technology. And at last, you have shown the application of ecofeminism activism for the better cause of the environment, and which is a new approach taken by the South Asian women. Thanks so much for your very beautiful paper. Now, I would like to request Professor Dr. K. Omnar Rao to carry on the interactive session. Over to Dr. Rao.
Namaskar, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Maharana. Well, I should thank Surajit Das for his clear presentation. Nicely done. Well, we have with us Dr. Kailash Chandra Das sir, Dr. Anup Rai, and others. Well, at first I would like to request Dr. Kailash Das sir to have his observations. Dr. Kailash Das sir.
I must congratulate that this is a very balanced paper, but I have some queries that specifically you have taken into consideration women of one region, the South Asian region, but the fate of women all over the world before 200 or 300 years ago was almost same. And you signed out the book on women's suffrage in 300 years, and they have been victims of patriarchy, and they have been the victims of devaluation all down the ages in every culture. There is not a an exception. So this is what happens to all over them. And if you imagine the history of America also, they are not given that much liberty to their women 200-300 years ago. The most civilized country today you see have not also done like this. Rather, you find long ago in Vedantin schools, they have again some kind of there is some kind of society which was women were very much emancipated and policed. So my question is precise. Michael, it's not a question exactly. It's that why you have confined to South Asian women and why not women in general? Thank you.
Sir, there is a clear distinction between South Asian women and Latin American women. Ecofeminism, as explained in the West, has been critiqued for homogenizing women by not considering issues like class and resource content among women. It assumes that all women have the same relationship with the earth. And it seems not to make a sufficient distinction between the urban women who may be driven by consumerist ethics and rural women who can easily identify with nature. But Indian ecofeminism or the South Asian ecofeminism makes a departure from this homogenization by uh, importance a group of rural women and focusing on their basic needs. There is the basic difference.
Right. Okay.
Well, thank
Sir,
you.
sir, any comment, any recommendation to improve this paper for publication? Any recommendation from?
We are moving with that. We are moving with that. Okay. Now, may I request Dr. Anuprai sir? Anuprai sir, whether he's here? Yes.
Sujit, actually I don't have any recommendation as for now, but it's a really a good paper. I appreciated it, and I think you will, if you go on working on this field, you can do better and better in future. Wish
Thank
you
you.
see you again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Roy. Well, one thing that comes to my mind, as Dr. Kailash Das sir has rightly pointed out, why just um, well, why just South Asian or women? Why not women throughout the world? Well, you find a problem that wherever you go, that women are treated the way they are treated, largely because they are women, not because of their attitudes, not because of their outlook, not because of their responses. People simply sideline this. Because she is a woman, a treatment is somewhat different. So that makes one point to look into for structurally constructing a moral theory as to what can be done. Well, we have taken very rightly Vandana Siva that marginalization of women goes parallel with, the environmental degradation. That's how the question of ecofeminism comes to in the defense of both the woman and also nature. So, we have tried to make it a point that under the patriarchal domination, okay, the privileges that men enjoy, that those privileges are not are being not enjoyed by the woman. So, it's a good attempt, and I think, I don't know whether you have gone through Vandana Siva's works, and yeah, as you pointed out, you have gone through. Well, I think I think a bit of more of say, because you are given only less time, 15 minutes time, and I think you can do still more better as to how the violence towards how can a parallel be drawn between the violence towards nature, okay, is similar to the violence towards women. How is this that the use of chemicals, the use of say excess agricultural activities, okay, so our sense of treatment towards nature has a similar parallel towards women. So you try to find out the similarities between the treatment to women on one hand and the treatment to nature, and try to try to bring in ecofeminism and defense to make the lives of women better, and that's how you can improve yourself, I think. Well, Surajit, well,
Thank you, sir.
well, thank you. Well, we have it as our admin. We have it as Jayanti madam. Well, let me request Jayanti madam if she has to say something on this issue. Namaskar, madam. Yes.
Namaskar, sir. Actually, this paper is a very good paper. I just try to understand him that what he is bringing about women empowerment and trying to relate it with the nature. If sometimes it is very kind of what he is pointing out is a very uh, true. Actually, this is a fact that because of so many reasons already he has pointed out. I do not have any kind of comments on this because he has already brought out so many issues, how patriarchy, how other things are there, and because of which the kind of marginalization has taken place amongst the women also, and how things can be better also he has suggested. So this is a good paper, but I think that something can be also he can also take into the Indian scenario village, and something he can take into the consideration about like ancient Indian text to make it a more, not more a kind of one-sided view, but a kind of holistic approach, how things can be better, and not in a kind of one perspective, but multiple perspectives. If we can work on and maybe a kind of better suggestive model rather than one ideological perspective. If you see the problem, then many times the problems are not resolved. So in order to bring a kind of like equality in both the sphere, then I always feel that there should be a holistic approach, and that will be possible if you take the spiritual model of Indian philosophy. That is what I have to say. Otherwise, it's a good paper, well thought out.
Okay, ma'am, I will remind it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jayanti madam. Well, one thing again comes to my mind, Surajit. Well, you have very nicely pointed out that the acts of women go unrewarded. You see, a lot of emotion is involved, lot of acts are involved. She is concerned about the home from the morning till the night. She is the one who wakes up early and goes late in the night. And the same case, she has just lot of activities. So is nature with lot of things to offer to us. So that parallel also you can bring in. Okay, see, even nature has lot to offer to us, but we are cruel towards nature. The way we are cruel to the woman. Say we go even every act of woman. Okay, in the household, everything is free, but still she is the one to be uh, given a lower scale. Well, even Sravani Misra points out in the chat box, it is all patriarchal domination that is bringing about a lot of problems to the woman. The way we are treating the nature, the similar treatment is there towards the woman, even within our households. So that's a great matter of concern. Well, we have it as
Sir,
our.
I just would like to add something here.
Yes, madam, welcome.
Like if we see our ancient culture and tradition, there was a kind of equality, like acceptance, and it was a kind of the marginalized not was not there, but rather acceptance, respect, and a kind of equality was there within the Vedic feminism. If you also see that, and then we talk about Siva Sakti, then Ram, Sita, so many examples are there, but that is a kind of, if we bring, that is maybe an idealistic framework, but if you work on the realistic framework also, it was never like that situation which we are facing now. It was recognized, some way it was recognized, the Sakti, the power of the woman was recognized, but in the contemporary and from the beginning patriarchy was there, but that is a kind of ego and the power of the people, right? Not the theory says that, but in a practice you find the many things are distorted and contradicted, and so the practice needs to be changed, and the society will develop, and we can talk about the relational wealth only when there is a kind of equality, respect, and the trust factor to each other. Like, then things will be changed. Otherwise, we can only talk and nothing can be worked out. So now the situation is very contemporary situation, that the people feel that women are talking about feminist rights and only rights, not duty. But that is not true. The situation are very worse. Sometimes domestic violence, as you said, that she is the only one. She is the always treated as an object, not a kind of subject or a self-conscious being. But our tradition teaches that there is no gender distinction and all are equal. And that is, in fact, no gender. So self works within both the sphere. But unless and until you treat women as a subject, as a self-conscious, rational being, and can do and can think about what you can do, then society is not going to change. So that is what we have to see, that respect and faith from both sides. So that is what my suggestion is.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So Jayanti Madam has a very nice thing to say. It's respect and reciprocation for either sexes. That is the need of the day. Well, we have with us our admin, Professor Pramod Kumar Das. Well, sir, your observation.
Yes, I have no comment. Just I shall suggest that that Surajit Das sir, you just follow the suggestions of the judges and Jayanti Madam, Dr. Rao, and you develop your paper for publication. Okay, and I shall request um, all to make your observation very brief, very pinpointed, so that we can cover all sessions. Okay. So now we shall give a chance to Khaya Roy, if it is possible she can present, otherwise she will be shifted to the next session.
Kaya, are you present? Kaya? Miss Kaya, right?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
It's audible, but it's not clear. Okay, please.
Sir,
Now,
am I
let's
audible
open it.
right now?
Yes, hi, sir. Our admin, Professor Pramod Kadas. All the participants have tried to limit their paper within the time, and I thought actually all of them have given their obligation and justice to the time. So today, the 4 participants, Professor four participants, Miss Khya Rai, Mr. Surajit Das, Miss Manosni Patnaik, and Mr. Chotan Das. They have all given justice to the time, and Miss Khya Rai, Mr. Surajit Das, Miss Manosni Patnaik, they have presented their paper very nicely, and they have also responded to the questions and observation made by our learned professors. And today we have a very good session, and Professor Pramod Kumar Das has also given some advice to Mr. Chotan Das, because he is a PG student and he has tried to present his thought, and he has tried to give clarity in thinking and understanding and in presenting the paper. And this is a platform of learning. This is a platform of knowing something and to learn from the senior professors. So it will be a lesson for Mr. Chotan Das to learn more and more and to modify his paper and to try to know how to present paper. But actually his paper was also a very good paper, and his topic, human values and professional ethics, is also a very good paper, and it has to be extended as per the suggestions of so many professors. And today, I don't have the words how to propose my vote of thanks to Professor Jayanti Priyadarshini Sahu from JNU, New Delhi. And she goes and participating in all the webinars of Philosophy Family, and her suggestions and observations in Philosophy Family are very praiseworthy, and they are motivating and inspiring to all other participants and to the viewers. The viewers and participants, they are learning so many things from Professor Jayanti's observation and inspiring thought. So, on behalf of Philosophy Family, I would like to extend my thanks and gratitude to Professor Jayanti Priyadarshini Sahu of Delhi University for her presence and for her observation with all the participants. I extend my thanks to Professor Kailash Das sir, the esteemed judge and the senior professor of Odisha. Uh, he has given his observation, he has inspired the participants, and has also motivated the viewers that present now. And Professor Anup sir is very student friendly. He always congratulates and encourages the participants who are present their paper in Philosophy Family. And today he has encouraged all the participants to extend their paper and to add some new things in their papers in order to make it enriched from different point of view. And Professor Pramod Kumar Das has given the Armeni. He tries to invite the learning students, research scholars, and teachers to come forward to Philosophy Family to have their philosophical reflection, and so that it will motivate all the students and teachers of our country and abroad, so that they will be highlighted, their knowledge will be popularized, and they can give an opportunity in future programs and future events. So thanks so much, Professor Pramod Kwandas, for the beautiful observation, for the encouraging words, and for the inspiring observation for the participants and for all the viewers. Professor Dr. K. Omran Rao, while moderating the sessions, he always gives advice to the participant, and his philosophical deliberation and his philosophical reflections are generally motivates us. So I don't find in words how to propose vote of thanks and how to extend my warm feelings for Professor Dr. K. Umnan Rao. And I don't forget the name of Savani Mr. Madam, who always attends the academic programs of Philosophy Family, and she never forgets to give her own observation on the chat box, and it also inspires us, motivates us, and it also inspires our viewers to have their own feeling, own observation, and own queries on the chat box, so that it will be an motivational words for all. So again, I have not taken the names of so many viewers who are present in the philosophy platform in the Philosophy Family. I I extend my warm feelings and best wishes and gratitude to all the viewers present today. And I request all the viewers to have their presence in future events to make the academic programs of Philosophy Family uh, very that is so that the Philosophy Family will be able to provide much academic programs in future. So with this, I extend my gratitude to all the speakers, to all the organizers, to all the esteemed judges and viewers present today. Have a meaningful evening. Okay.
Dr.
Now over to
Dr.
Professor Pramod.
Dr. Maharana,
Okay, okay.
and really it is wonderful to to hear your observation after the deliberation of the students and participants. Beautifully,
Thanks.
beautifully you do that. Okay,
Thanks so much.
thank you, sir. With this, the meeting is declared closed. Thank you.